Okay, right, here we go. Right, somebody actually requested that I do this before I start my vlogging, but you know what? I'm going to do it as part of my vlog because they're moaning. They said, bird, brush your Barnet before you do a vlog. So this bird is brushing her Barnet, its hair in the UK, before she starts her vlog.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
Conspiracy theories. Today I'm going to talk about those conspiracy theories. Now I've brushed my hair. And we're talking about the Black Knight conspiracy theory. This is a strange object flying around the Earth, believed to be a 13,000-year-old satellite, which has been transmitting from the Earth since 13,000 years ago. And the first suggestion this was happening was by a guy called Tesla, who existed in the 1890s, and he decided that he would have a radio satellite and he would receive signals from that aforementioned satellite. And this is what happened. He was getting radio signals from outer space, and the source of those radio signals was unknown. And this again happened in the 1920s. There were radio signals from places unknown. In the 1950s, there were sightings of objects in the sky, and in also the 1950s, it was reported that in 1957, something was following a Russian spacecraft in space, but it wasn't publicised what. I decided to add some pretty crazy sound effects to the music here. I was trying to give it a go so that these pictures of really boring space objects, which is the Black Knight, would actually be a bit interesting. I hope you like this interlude and you enjoy my interruption of this aforementioned set photograph. There were newspaper articles about unusual items in the sky also in the 1950s, and that was published by Time magazine, saying there was unusual objects in the sky. But it wasn't investigated, or maybe Russia and America were keeping it under wraps because indeed there was an object and they didn't want anybody else to get their hands on it. And also in 1998, NASA took some footage of an unusual object in the sky. One of the astronauts in 1998 made a comment that he believed there were, he had seen an alien spacecraft in space, but NASA kind of wrote this off as a hallucination, that sometimes astronauts, having spent a long time in space, have hallucinations. So there's a lot of stuff going out, fact or fiction. I'll post some pictures up as well on this vlog. And then I watched another vlog to counter this story, and this vlog suggested that obviously this is not a conspiracy, that there's a rational answer to the question of the Black Knight. The Black Knight is indeed a very old piece of space debris that has been orbiting the Earth, and just one of many. There's believed to be about 18,000 objects floating in space right now. So above us is 18,000, and it's believed that there has to be some sort of cleanup apparently, or the space programs are going to have to stop because there's too much rubbish in space. Well, he hypothesizes, I like that word, I wonder if it's right, he hypothesizes that actually in order to rectify the space debris problem and get rid of Night for good, that NASA is suggesting they get this gigantic space kind of vacuum cleaner and go up there and use this sort of suction thing to catch aforementioned 10-ton object floating in space doing a polar orbit, and then just drop him on the earth. So you can imagine now the poor person or the poor pedestrian on Peckham High Street or Croydon High Street, to name a couple, walking innocently along, to be subjected to a 10-ton object falling on you. And is this going to be a regular occurrence? Because God knows, if there's 18,000 items and they're all sorts of debris from spaceships, are we going to become space victims of space object crime? And those are my thoughts, and those are my views, and those are my feelings. I hope you've enjoyed this vlog today. Comment below and give me a thumbs up if you liked and a thumbs down if you didn't, and also subscribe to my channel. Comment if you actually believe that the Black Knight satellite actually exists, and if you don't think the satellite exists, put down that you don't believe the satellite doesn't exist.